What's up, guys? We're back at it again today. I'm going to make a quick video asking ChatGPT to create the super fight main card, the most stacked UFC card that it could possibly make. Let's see what AI itself chooses for the most stacked UFC card that it could possibly make. Let's get right into it. Let's go. Okay, so ChatGPT, today I'm going to need you to create the most stacked, compiled, best fights UFC event that can possibly happen ever. The biggest fights, best matchups. I want you to create the prelims, the main event, and the main event. Choose everything to your liking. The most stacked, best event card that you could possibly make. Thank you. A super fight card. All right. Let's see what ChatGPT has to say, honestly. Right now, we told it to create the most stacked card, and let's see what it has to say after that. Let's see what it chooses. There's so many different options that it could go about. Transgressor MMA presents Super Card, UFC Super Card Clash of the Legends. Look, what? Hold on. Because the first matchup is already kind of crazy, to be honest. It's already kind of crazy, guys. All right, let's build the ultimate UFC Super Card, a dream lineup stacked from top to bottom with the biggest names, most anticipated matchups, and guaranteed bangers. This is the kind of event that would shut down the internet. I'm crafting this with fan hype, skill, legacy, and violence in mind. Let's go. Okay, keeping all that in mind, let's go each fight by fight and let's genuinely see what ChatGPT has to say. Okay, Transgressor MMA presents UFC Supercard Clash of Legends. This is the early prelims, the fight pass card. Okay, Raul Rosas Jr. and Muhammad Mokaev, prospect versus prospect, future title implications. Well, Muhammad Mokaev is not in the UFC anymore, and I would update ChatGPT on that just so they could know, because, you know, let's be real. But I don't know how to feel about this matchup. But I understand prospect versus prospect with the very first fight. With the very first fight of a main fight, that's not bad at all. I'm not even complaining with that. Sean Brady for Shavkat for the second fight, that is, for the early prelims, that's fire. I'm not even going to lie. That's a beastie matchup. And then Stephen Thompson versus Michelle Pereira, the fight that was supposed to happen before, but then it fell out due to. Okay, so this is random. I'm not gonna act like it's not random, but I'm not gonna say that they're bad matchups or bad fights. It's definitely good fights and good matchups, and this is the very first few fights. I think they're probably giving it with current fighters, so let's keep that in mind. They're choosing matchups with the current UFC fighters, and that's perfectly fine. Let's go. What's the regular prelims? Tony Ferguson. Nah, hold on. Nah. This is bad now. This is bad. Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett? Come on. Let's be real. Tony Ferguson is not in the UFC, and we don't even want to see that. We already saw that, and it wasn't even all that. Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen. Bro, what is it? Yeah, pause. Yuri versus Alex, they already fought. Bo Nickel versus Hamza. That's a good little fight, even though I think Hamza will run through him, but that's still a good matchup. All right, so Raul versus Muhammad. Muhammad's not in the UFC, but that's not necessarily a bad matchup, even though actually it kind of is. Sean Brady, Shavkat, fire. Stephen Thompson versus Michelle Pereira, that would be a good matchup as well. Tony Ferguson versus Paddy Pimblett, we saw it already and we don't want to see it again. Calvin Kattar versus Arnold Allen, I feel like we don't really care about that. It's a good matchup, but we don't really care about that. Yuri versus Alex, we love it. It happened twice already. I don't think we want to see it again, but it's a good matchup. Bo Nickel versus Hamza, that's fire, and I could jack that. I definitely could go with that. Now let's see what they throw on the main card. Dustin versus Justin Gaethje, the trilogy for the main card opener. That's fire. Okay, that's 100% fire. I'm completely jacking that. Conor versus Nate Diaz trilogy as well. Ooh, 2 back-to-back trilogies. That's fire. That's another absolute banger. Just because people would love that. Even though Nate Diaz is not in the UFC either, or Conor at this point. Islam versus Charles 2. That's another banger fire fight. Can't even lie. The rematch, that John Jones versus Tom Aspinall. Okay, this main event is absolutely stacked. This is the kind of fight. Actually, I understand why they shaped it out to be like this. Would be like a realistic, absolute banger UFC fight if it was to ever happen. Like the best of the best of the best. UFC 300 times 10 if the UFC was to happen, in the sense where it's not like you're going to have Adesanya in the first fight and Topuria second, and then it's going to be realistic, whereas it's still good matchups, but it's some kind of, even though I feel like you can still throw better matchups on the early prelims and prelims. What else? No. I take everything I said back. everything. They had me at the first four: Dustin and Justin, Connor, Nate, Islam, Charles, Jones, Aspinall, Fire. But Edwards, Usman 3? No, we do not want to see that. And then a super main event, Israel Adesanya versus Khabib at 165. Khabib never fought past 155. And you're just telling Khabib, I'll just gain 10 pounds. And you're telling Adesanya to cut another 20 pounds? Nah, that is insane. Okay, let me see. Bonus super fights announced for the next card tease. Max Holloway. This is even me. Which already happened. Mali versus Marab versus already happened. And Amanda versus Shevchenko 3. Yeah. What makes this card GOAT tier? Let's see. Fan favorites and elite talents. Yeah. Multiple trilogies and legacy fights. That's true. Unifications, rematches, and style clashes. Yeah. Everything. Yeah. Welterweights. Well, they have bantamweight, welterweight, lightweight, featherweight, light heavyweight, middleweight. Yeah. Everything except flyweight, and yeah, they even got the heavyweight, John Jones. Okay, y'all gotta tell me, I'm kind of at a loss of words for this, because it's like, I wasn't expecting these matchups. Some are good, but then some is like, what? But then I'm not gonna lie, it is shit. If this was to be announced, of course, I mean, I'm not gonna do Adesanya and Khabib, and a lot of these guys are not in the UFC, and like, come on, let's be real. But I'll have to talk to ChatGPT, get some things right, and then come back stronger and better. Tell me what you guys enjoyed. Tell me if you guys enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Join them in the gang. I love you guys. Have a great night. Have a great day. Have a great life.